All right, everyone. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Another exciting weekly Shonen Jump stream. This will be a relatively short one because, unfortunately, I am a bit behind on a lot of the manga. I'm a couple chapters behind on Ichi. I'm a couple chapters behind on Akane Banashi. But we'll read One Piece and then we'll read some Kagurabachi. But as usual, we'll give everyone a few minutes before we get started. We got Justin in the chat. Justin, what's going on? How's your Sunday going? Have the Bears played yet today? Ichi's getting the cover for next week? Alright, well then I definitely need to catch back up on Ichi. I'm only a couple chapters behind, but still, it makes a difference. It adds up. Did a reread of Kagurabachi. It's definitely grown on me. Yeah, I feel like when I read the first 30 chapters, well, when I first caught up, there was only 30 chapters, and I thought it was, okay, slightly overhyped. When I reread it, when it had like 40 or 50 chapters, I liked it a lot more. So I definitely agree. I think it's one of those series that grows on you. It always has a strong start, but depending on your reading experience, it's either like a non-stop hype train or it kind of falls off in the beginning. Bears play at 3:30. How am I doing? I'm doing good, man. Working on videos, getting Christmas shopping done, in the holiday spirit, all that good stuff. Made a snowman this morning. That's how you know it's Christmas time. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and get started with Kagurabachi. So, One Piece I have read already. Kagurabachi I have not read. So we'll start with Kagurabachi, chapter 60. So we're having another meeting yet again with the leaders of the Kamunabi. Which, now that I think about it, let me finish my thought and then I'll answer your question, Tanj. Now that I think about it, why aren't the leaders of the Kamunabi getting involved? Like, I get it, they have to develop the story, build up the characters, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like if these guys are so strong or they're so competent, then they should be the ones to be fighting the Hishaku. That's just a background thought I'm having. Um. Oh, what, Tanj? What was your question? What's going on, Keith? How you doing today? Pleasure to have you. Okay. I guess you got rid of your question. That's all right. Justin wants to know, I wanted to ask you about this take someone on Twitter said. Kagurabachi is going to be that edgy series like JJK, and Ichi the Witch is going to replace the My Hero wholesomeness? I mean, I guess. It's kind of a forced comparison. Jordan, what's going on? How you doing? I mean, Kagurabachi definitely fills the gap left behind by Jujutsu Kaisen, because obviously both series, the emphasis is action. But like, Chihiro is a significantly different character than Yuji. So like, broadly speaking, I think Kagurabachi is not the spiritual successor, but it's like, you know, the next Jujutsu Kaisen, so to speak. Like, it's going to be the next big series. But Ichi the Witch and My Hero Academia is a pretty forced comparison. I mean, they're two completely different, formats. One's a fantasy, one's like a modern superhero story. And Ichi and Deku aren't even similar. So, like, Ichi the Witch is wholesome in the sense that it's like, a magic story, and it's got magic girls, and it's a very silly story, right? But to say it's like the next My Hero Academia, like, I don't think Ichi is a crybaby at all. I don't necessarily think the story is going to have a theme of like, oh, well, the bad guys aren't always bad guys. What is the worst and best manga I've ever read? Also, I don't know why your question keeps getting retracted. Interesting. Well, I can't give you my definitive best manga. I suspect if I had actually read the manga, it might be, and this is going to be kind of a hot take, it might be Gintama over Dr. Stone. But, or excuse me, not Dr. Stone, One Piece. Because I really like Gintama, but I've only watched the anime. I started collecting the manga, but I haven't like sat down and read it. But worst manga I've read? I'm not crazy about Oshinoko. I'm trying to think what else. That's a toughie. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Because I'm usually pretty good about avoiding series that I know I'm not going to like. There was that one Jump Plus manga about like the video game, and like the boss in the video game comes to life or something. I forget what it's called. I don't think it lasted very long. But I read one chapter. It might still be running though. I don't know. But I read one chapter. Oh no. I'm pretty sure it ended. I think it ended after like 30 chapters. But I remember reading one chapter and I'm like, yeah, this manga's pretty boring. But yeah, let's get into Kagurabachi. So they're having their meeting. So they're giving an update on Hakuri, and they're saying physically he's fine, but his brain is so messed up from overusing his powers that he needs intensive treatment. So they explain what the owl ability is, and that it's an enchanted blade detector. So basically, this technique is going to be up in the sky the whole time that Samara is doing his thing. So the leaders of the Kamunabi. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not really impressed with these characters at all. They're relegating all of the fighting to the other characters. Like, I don't think they've actually done anything in the story so far. And now that they've been double-crossed, they're like, oh, well, why don't we just wait till they kill each other and then we'll ambush them? Like, that's like griefer mentality. That's like, well, I suck at the game, but those two are going to kill each other. So I'll just wait until one of them dies, and then I'll beat the other one, and then I'll win the game. So not really loving the leaders of the Kamunabi. I thought you were going to say the best manga you ever read was Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is probably more like number 3. I think. It's definitely top 5. My favorites in no particular order. Gintama would be one of them, but it's definitely one of my top 5 anime. Dr. Stone, One Piece, Bleach. Yeah. If I had read Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, that would probably be up there as well. Oh, also, Soul Eater. Soul Eater is definitely up there. It kind of depends on what day I'm having. Like, what mood you catch me in. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh man, One Piece. Nothing comes close. But then, like, yesterday, I was like, man, Soul Eater is just so much fun. But then I read Bleach, or I watch Bleach, and I'm like, god damn. It's like Kubo wrote this for me specifically. Anyway, we cut from the loser leaders of the Kamunabi. We get Shiba checking in on Chihiro. They confirm that Uraha is dead. So Chihiro, because he died, has lost his contract with Enten, his enchanted blade. The only good thing about the Kamunabi is their elite medical facilities. Besides that, they are riddled with incompetence. Yeah, I feel like all they ever do is catch L's. I feel like really all they ever do is just get completely embarrassed by villains. And it's kind of funny. Which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be the point. But I don't know, I just find it funny that like they have like this head council of characters and like they don't do a single thing in the story. And I say that, what are we on, chapter 70? We're on chapter 60. It's been 60 chapters and they haven't done a single thing. Yeah, Gintama is so much fun. Like, unlike any other series. So Chihiro was about to ask about Uraha and like what the enchanted blade users did back in the before us time, so to speak, and he got cut off. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we might get a flashback arc, like maybe 2 or 3 chapters. Yeah, so maybe not an arc so much. I don't know, that's a good question. I like how at the end of the chapter they call it ninja attire and they're just dressed like common assassins. I don't know, I think it's pretty funny. Also, everyone on Twitter has already said it, but such a cool panel. Also, like, the end of this chapter is giving John Wick energy. Like, they have the weapons all neat and organized on the wall on page 17. They take like an elevator in the middle of the park. That's like very John Wick, right? Like they have the secret tunnels. And then they're all dressed in their fancy suits. It's given John Wick energy for sure. So it seems like they're going to go confront Samura right away. I thought this arc was going to get fleshed out a bit, but I feel like it'll probably end sooner than I had anticipated, which is fine. That is totally okay. But let me ask everybody this. Do we think there should be a flashback of sorts, whether it's like 2 or 3 chapters or like a little arc that's like 10 plus chapters? Or do you think they should just kind of like explain what happens, right? I feel like they should do like a little flashback that's like 3-ish chapters. I feel like that'd be pretty good. Maybe 4. But yeah, Kagurabachi was great this week. I'd give it like a 7. Obviously nothing crazy happened, but it was a nice end to the chapter. Explained some of the questions I had. Continued to show that the Kamunabi are grossly incompetent. Fleshed out Chihiro. Fleshed out Shiba a bit, which is nice. And then, of course, it gave off John Wick energy, which we always love to see. So yeah, I'd give Kagurabachi like a 7 out of 10. But now we'll move on to One Piece, which I have read. And I have to say, this chapter is like at least an 8 out of 10. This is a beautiful chapter. We open with the cover story with Yamato fighting off against Hold'em. And I was kind of surprised to see Hold'em. I thought Hold'em... I don't know. I wasn't really expecting Hold'em. Anyway, so we get a recap of Robin's backstory. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Oda recapping stuff in the manga. Especially when the chapters are... What is this? So it's 17 pages. And 3 of those pages are recap. I don't know how I feel about that. But the Giants established that they have sea clouds, which I'm not sure if those would be the same as like we saw on Skypiea. I would have to think they're somewhat similar, but I don't know if they're the exact same. They might have been drawn. That's the thing about Elbaf right now is because they have the magic marker. I don't really know what's real and what isn't. They also have the mist ship that uses the buoyancy of island clouds to sail. So yeah, this is kind of giving Skypiea vibes a bit. I like the little Nami and Robin moment where Nami gives Robin like a thumbs up. I also like the Luffy moments in this chapter because he always kind of gave the impression that he felt like whatever about his Straw Hat army, but he's like genuinely excited to see Hyrodine, which is cool. But he meets the new giant pirates proper, and they show that what's his name, Road, is basically been crucified for being a S tier creep. So, this is something that I was curious about, and I didn't really remember it until just now. So if you remember, Big Mom was in an orphanage on Elbaf. So Hyrodine and Gerd grew up with Big Mom before she implicitly ate all those kids. So I was like, wait a minute. Hyrodine and Gerd they don't look nearly as old as Big Mom. But then I remembered they're giants, so they age a lot slower than the humans do. I still think it's hilarious that they're like hanging Road like just in public, like in the middle of the town, for being a total creep. Again, we get another Luffy moment where he hears that they're going to go meet Saul, and he's like, well, I'm your captain, so obviously I have to go meet him. It's like a dad moment, if anything, which is kind of funny. Something worth noting in the scans, Hyrodine says he caught an elk, but in the official translations, he says he caught a moose. Not really sure which one it would be. So they're going to the Warrior Spring and the Owl Library. Interesting. I will say I like what I like about this moment is that Robin is like very excited and very nervous going into this, because Robin is notorious for being such a like, monotone, calm and collected character and like very dark, right? So, and she's like the more mature character. So it's nice to see this side of her where obviously Saul raised her in a sense. So when she knows she's going to go see him, and then when she eventually does see him, she almost turns into like a teenage girl. Like she like kind of loses her cool. which is nice because it shows that Robin isn't just this like emotionless monster that everyone made her out to be. Have I ever seen all those anime? I've seen all of those except for Spice and Wolf and Pokemon Horizons. I do think it's funny that Saul does this bit where he doesn't really know how to say hi to Robin in like a normal way. So he has to like reenact how they met in the first place. Which in a way he should feel pretty awkward. One, because, you know, it's somebody you haven't seen in like forever, so that's always awkward. And two, you know, he did kind of neglect to go see her all those years. So I guess that would be pretty awkward too. Have I ever seen I got a cheat skill in another world? No, I have not. Ooh, so Saul has a peg leg now. I didn't even notice. Is he the only character with a peg leg? I feel like we haven't seen any characters with peg legs. Is he going to be the peg leg character now? Is that his bit? Anyway, Saul explains that, you know, the voice of O'Hara was honored by Vegapunk. And then, yeah, we get to the part where Robin's like, you know, you keep talking about all this dark stuff. Why don't we be happy? Why don't you, you know, tell me how happy you are to see me? And then they like cry and say how much they missed each other. We get the really nice reaction from the Straw Hats. But again, I feel like what makes this so special is that we see a vulnerable side to Robin. Like, we see a side to Robin that we don't usually see. Like, I feel like what we saw is Robin prior to the O'Hara incident, because she's not all dark and gloomy. She like wants to be happy, and she's not all calm and collected. She's like nervous and emotional. So I really like this chapter. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. The reason I can't give it as a 9 is because I feel like it has a lot of recap with the 3 pages in the beginning, and then with Saul, talking about oh yeah, that's right, Zeph is a peg leg character. Zeph kind of beat him to the punch. I can't believe I forgot that. That's crazy. That's right, because Zeph has 2 peg legs. So not only did he beat him to the punch, but he one-upped him. He's like, 1 peg leg, try both, try no legs. Just call me No Feet Zeph. By the way, awesome stream. Well, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. I will say this. I think this is the one time where Oda did a bait and switch with a character's death where it is actually worked out for the better. Like, I genuinely believe that the story is better because of this bait and switch. 9 times out of 10, when Oda does it, when he does a fake out death, it's like one of the worst things in the story. Like the stuff with Pound, for example. Pound was supposed to be dead. And then we get the cover story where they find Pound, which is great because then you get the family reunion, but it basically renders that whole scene of him dying like completely pointless. With this example, the reason I think it works out so well is because, yes, it does kind of undermine the impact of when we thought Saul died, but what we get in exchange is like visible, tangible character growth in Robin. Like, the whole time you read this chapter, you see at least 2 or 3 different sides of Robin, and you can like feel the character growth. Like, it's tangible. You can see it, you can feel it. It's very real. Robin is somehow elevated again as a character. And so I think this is the one fake out death that Oda actually did really well. That being said, it's not like he's going to stop. As a matter of fact, at this point, I feel like it's a staple of every arc. I wouldn't be surprised if in the Yamato cover story we found out that a character that we thought was dead is actually still alive. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about One Piece. I am kind of curious how much of a role Saul is gonna... So, I guess I'll pose 2 questions. One question I have, right, is Saul gonna die in this arc now that he came back? Because I would not put it past Oda at all to bring Saul back just to kill him off in another tragic emotional scene and to like push Robin that way emotionally. I could totally see Saul sacrificing himself again. But I also don't know if it's gonna be that kind of arc. My other question is, what kind of role will he play in this arc? Because in theory, this could be like the most important thing he does, just reuniting with Robin, and then we basically don't see him for the whole arc. Which, honestly, I would be fine with. I would totally be fine if, we see Saul for like a few more chapters, and then he kind of goes away, and then we don't really see him all that often until the very end of the arc. I would be totally cool with that. I think that would be totally fine. My concern is that he is forced into some important role, and then for whatever reason he becomes a problematic character. How that would happen, I have no idea, but that is just a concern I have in the back of my mind as I read this arc. But this chapter is an 8 out of a 10. Oda killed it with the reunion, made Robin an even better character again, and it's the first time where I'm actually thankful for a fake out death in One Piece. Wouldn't be shocked if Oda does that, to be honest, killing off Saul, but I feel this was just reuniting Robin and Saul. I don't believe he will kill him off. I certainly hope he doesn't. I feel like if he kills him off, it would kind of ruin everything I just said about why I actually like the fact that Saul is back in the story. I generally am not a fan of when you bring a character back just to kill them off again. If he does do that, I feel like it's got to be a really big, impactful sacrifice. Like it's got to matter. But that's all I'm going to read today. I normally would read more, but like I said, I'm behind on some of my manga. Like Ichi the Witch, I'm behind a couple chapters on. Hunter x Hunter, I'm behind a few chapters on. Akane Banashi, I'm behind like 2 chapters on. So I'm wrapping up some behind the scenes stuff, and then hopefully for next Sunday I'll have caught up on a bunch of other manga besides One Piece and Kagurabachi, so we can have like a proper Shonen Jump stream. But besides that, you can expect a video tomorrow morning. Tuesday we will stream. What did we do last week? Oh, we did Dr. Stone on Thursday, that's right. So yeah, I don't know what we'll do for Tuesday's stream. Maybe a tier list. But Tuesday will be some kind of random stream. Thursday, more Dr. Stone. And then videos Friday and Saturday. So yeah, great discussion as always. Thank you again to Justin and all of you other regular intellectuals who pulled up for today's stream. Look out for all the exciting stuff this week. Yeah, we might do a Chainsaw Man stream. I haven't been crazy about Chainsaw Man lately. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's fallen off. I'm just not feeling it. So I don't know if we'll do a Chainsaw Man stream. I would love to do Dawn to Dawn, but I think Dawn to Dawn is still on break. I have to check. Pardon me. Donadon does come back tomorrow. Ugh. I might... Was that screaming I heard? Yeah, sorry about that. Family's watching the football game. Just as like a closing note, in January, I might move the Tuesday streams to Monday. Because in January, we'll go back to just 2 videos a week. So there'll be more room to switch around the days we do the streams. So I think what we might do in January is move the Tuesday streams to Mondays and do reactions to Dandadan on Mondays. Because for the most part, I would probably say Dandadan is my favorite ongoing manga right now. So, more than anything, I would really love to do weekly reviews of Dandadan. That's what we were kind of doing on Tuesdays with Chainsaw Man, but I might make Mondays a dedicated Dandadan day, but we'll see. But for now, we're going to wrap things up. Again, thank you everyone. Pleasure to have you. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Peace.